Hey guys, so the Oscar nominations was recently announced, and Sinners is a top dog with 16 nominations. That is the most nominations that a film has ever been honored with, and there are so many different opinions on that. I got into a little bit of a heated debate with some of my friends, Terrence being one of them. He had some interesting takes, but I agree and disagree at the same time. So I started thinking about it, like, is it really worth that many nominations? So I wanted to break it down, and then we can decide on whether or not it is. All right, Best Picture. There is so much substance in this movie from the beginning to the right before the horror element starts that you cannot help but be consumed by the era and just be in awe of the music, the impact, and everything that Coogler does in this. It is absolutely beautiful. And then the substance goes away once we get into the horror film. I started thinking about that because then your mind tends to just gravitate towards, it turns into a vampire film. But what if, from a substance, a continuity of substance, is that Remick is absorbing the black culture for envious reasons and internally enslaves them, reflecting the early reality of the black experience in America. In that sense, the horror works on a more substance-filled basis. I really thought about that, and it is actually pretty accurate. I think that is what continues the substance, even though it is kind of it kind of goes in a different direction as far as tone. It still remains the same, and that is the experience of Black America in those times, and the certain power of slavery in a lot of sense. So, in that regard, I would say, if you're really looking at it that way, I would say yes, it does warrant a Best Picture nomination. But it's very, very tight. It's very, very tight. I'm going to say yes for now, but it's very, very tight, only because of some of the execution in the horror. But if you're looking at it from a substance field, there is continuity there. So, yes, I will say yes for Best Picture. Best Director, Ryan Coogler, absolutely. He was confident, he was intentional, and he was visually controlled in everything, and he really knew exactly what he wanted to do with the whole, with everything that he wanted, from the execution of the timepiece to the horror element to the music. The way he put it together, the way he directed the actors, absolutely yes. I'm gonna say yes on that one. Best Actor, really Best Actor, supporting and everything, but for acting. Michael B. Jordan, absolutely. The fact that he played the dual roles and he did it so beautifully that you can't even tell that it's only one person. Like, he really, really differentiates the two characters and plays them so differently that, that is hard work, and he pulls it off beautifully. He deserves 2 Oscars just for that. All right. Delroy Lindo. Delroy Lindo has been in so many good movies. I loved him in Get Shorty, but he's never been recognized. So I'm really happy for Delroy Lindo to get nominated. He was actually really, really freaking good in this movie. Wunmi Musaku also, I know she's MCU alum, but she really delivers on this as well. And I honestly thought that Miles Canton could have been in there too. But yeah, Wunmi for sure was great. So all the acting accolades, absolutely, I say yes. The writing, the writing and how it executes everything as far as that era, and how it frames music as powerful, impactful. It delivers everything with artistic ambition, and it captures the true nature of the Black experience in that day, and the outlet and expression through the music. And through how they got away from all of the bad stuff that was around them. So I thought that the writing captured that beautifully. There's nothing I can say about that. The music tribute is one of the most beautiful, brilliant, perfect scenes I have ever seen in my life in any film. In any film. Okay, well, there's Jaws, but that's my personal favorite. But in any film, that is just absolutely the most beautiful frame of scene that I've ever seen. So, and the writing was a big part of that. Coogler's direction executed it beautifully, and then obviously the actor. So I'm going to give it a yes for the writing. Casting, absolutely. Not only the Oscar-nominated actors, but Haley Steinfeld is amazing. Jack O'Connell, that's star-making performance for me, for him. You can see him right now in 28 Years Later, Bone Temple. And then Miles Canton for it being his first movie debut, and he knocked it out of the park. I mean, he was beautiful in that movie. So casting, absolutely. Film editing, no, only because once it gets into the horror, there's just certain things that kind of are off. I know it's supposed to be almost a different movie, but there's tones in there that I did not like. I don't know. It just didn't do it for me. So I'm gonna say no for film editing, even though the final piece is an Oscar-nominated picture. But I don't know. That's just me. I'm kind of weird that way. Anyway, the cinematography, absolutely. The shot of the brothers at sunrise alone, just that scene warrants the freaking nomination. So I'm gonna say cinematography, yes. Production design, no. I've seen it before so many times in different other films, and they weren't nominated, so I'm not gonna say that. Costume design, same thing. I'm gonna say no. It's been done before. They were never nominated, so I'm gonna say no. Music, yes. Original song or original, yes. Song, I will say no, but yes at the same time. I Lied to You was a good song, and I understand, how it's capturing the moments and everything. But it should have been The Last Time I Seen the Sun, because that really, it really put a cap and the cherry on the top of that movie beautifully. Especially when you're walking out that theater. It's kind of like when you see the Wiz Khalifa song at the end of Furious 7. And you leave, that song really leaves you with that it impacts you that much that it leaves you with something walking out of the theater. The Last Time I Seen the Sun did the exact same thing. So that's why I think that song should have been nominated, not I Lied to You. So I'm going to say no on that song, but yes, as far as the other one goes. Makeup, no. I've seen better makeup in vampire films, in Fright Night, Lost Boys, Near Dark, Vamp. I've seen, so many better 30 Days a Night, Innocent Blood for even. Salem's Lot. I must say no. I'm going to say no. I've seen better makeup on vampires. I thought that there were some parts, especially the Delroy Lindo death scene, spoiler. That blood was ridiculously bad. It looked horrible. I did not like it. From Dusk Till Dawn did a way better job with the blood execution and all that and the makeup. Of course, you had Tom Savini in that movie, but that's a little different. Visual effects, no, not really. It's not. It's. I've seen it before, and they were not nominated. So I'm not really gonna go into the details with that. But visually, as far as the visual effects, like I've seen it before, so it's nothing new. So yeah, I think that pretty much sums it all. Let's see. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8. I think it's 8 or 9 nominations. The music one is going back and forth because I did like I did like I Lied to You. I just don't think it should have been nominated, but I'm gonna give it to it. So 9 nominations. So it's 9 nominations. That is the final tally of what it should have been nominated. The music itself, it was integral part of the whole thing. It's a borderline extra character in the whole movie. I've said that before. So yeah. The horror execution, visual effects felt lazy, tonal imbalance. Yeah, but you know what? I mean, you expect that when you're going to shift from a period piece to a horror film. You're expecting that. Here's a question that came up in our discussion with one of my friends that I had, and I'm just curious about that. And let me know what you think about it. And that was the pandering. Do you think that Hollywood pandered to the urban community by nominating it so much? I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. I think that the 16 nominations were a little much, sure, but I think that movie should have been honored for sure. I think 9 nominations or maybe even 10 would have been suffice. I think that would have been fine. But I don't really believe that it was pandering. I think that the cultural impact of that movie in America last year was really strong. And then you capitalize that with the box office that it did, earning almost $400 million. I think it was like 368 worldwide. I mean, that says something in itself. That means that the music, the acting, the execution of directing, the delivery, the writing, everything made an impact worldwide. Now, over $250 million was domestic, and I get that. But overall, the world said this movie is freaking amazing. So I think that played a lot into the amount of nominations that it got. So no, I do not think that it was pandering, but I'm curious to know what you feel about it. Leave it in the comment below. Let me know also if whether or not you thought 16 nominations was warranted for this movie, and I will see you down the road.